Adrian Newey isn't just stepping into a new chapter of his career, he's writing a saga of revenge, innovation, and redemption. The man who turned Red Bull into a Formula One powerhouse now finds himself blocked, sidelined, and stripped of his tools. Yet, for someone whose genius thrives under constraints, this is a big setback. As Red Bull tightens its grip on his creativity with gardening leave and enforced delays, Newey is quietly gearing up for what could be his most bold move yet. The stage is set for Newey to take on his former team in a battle for supremacy. And if there's one thing history has proven, it's that Adrian Newey doesn't just compete, he conquers. With Formula One teams now diving into preparations for the sweeping regulations set to debut in 2026, Adrian Newey finds himself itching to make his mark once again. Since January 1st, teams have had the green light to begin work on these new designs, and while Aston Martin's car for the current season is nearing completion, Newey's eyes are firmly set on the future. By early 2025, most teams will have their prototypes underway, but Newey's journey at Aston officially begins on March 2nd, leaving him playing catch-up with the rest of the grid. Despite this slight delay, Newey's role in shaping Aston Martin's future couldn't be more pivotal. While he'll provide input for the 2025 car, his primary focus will be on cracking the FIA's puzzle for the all-new 2026 cars and power units. It's a tantalizing challenge for the legendary designer, but the clock is already ticking. Teams like Red Bull and Mercedes are well into their early concepts, while Newey waits on the sidelines, eager to dive in. In a recent interview, Newey shed light on the challenges of his current position. When asked if Red Bull could prevent him from brainstorming ideas for Aston Martin's 2026 car, he responded with a characteristic mix of candor and wit. "No, they can't, but they've blocked my tools," he remarked, acknowledging the limitations imposed by his gardening leave. He elaborated on Aston Martin's priorities. "Of course, Aston wants to do the best job possible for 2025, but my main focus will be on the 26 regulations and this big change because I start on March 2nd. Newey also expressed his frustration at the delayed start, noting, "The aero rules come out January 1st, or maybe the 2nd depending on the working day, so I'll already be 2 months behind the curve." Adrian Newey's upcoming challenge at Aston Martin isn't just about making up for 2 months of lost time. It's about stepping into entirely new territory. Moving to Silverstone means more than unpacking his legendary drafting tools. It requires adapting to a new team of engineers, unfamiliar systems, and processes that may not align with the way he's worked for decades. For a designer who thrives on precision and efficiency, this transition is as much about people as it is about performance. Newey himself acknowledged the complexity of the task during a candid discussion. "In truth, of course, it's more than just the delay," he admitted. "Not only will I be behind on analysing those regulations compared to when they've come out, but with the way the rules are now, you really need to be hands-on with a computer-aided design system. Everything is so prescribed. You need to understand all the constraints and boundaries. This technical hurdle is compounded by the human element. It's also about getting to know a new team," he added, "getting to know all the guys and girls there and figuring out how we all work together." For someone like Newey, who has spent nearly 2 decades in a familiar environment at Red Bull, building those relationships and syncing with a fresh crew will be critical to his success. When Red Bull swooped in to rescue the floundering Jaguar team, they wisely poached Newey from McLaren, and the partnership has since become the stuff of legends. 18 years and countless trophies later, Newey remains a cornerstone of the Milton Keynes-based powerhouse. But brilliance often comes with a dash of complexity. Newey, like any true genius, has never been one to simply follow orders. His tenure at Red Bull hasn't been without its bumps, echoing the disagreements that marked his earlier stints at Williams and McLaren. Back then, these clashes cut his time short, pushing him to seek new challenges. At Red Bull, however, the team found a way to keep his creative spark alive, a balancing act few could manage. The shift to V6 turbo hybrid engines in 2014 tested Newey's patience like never before. The new regulations prioritized brute engine power over his artful aerodynamic designs, leaving him frustrated. To make matters worse, Renault, Red Bull's engine supplier at the time, seemed to approach the hybrid era with all the enthusiasm of a teenager doing homework. Their lackluster investment in research and development left Red Bull struggling to compete, and for a designer like Newey, who thrives on innovation, it was a bitter pill to swallow. follow. Let's face it, when the rules of the game undermine your brilliance, it's bound to ruffle some feathers. For Newey, this wasn't just a challenge, it was a fundamental shift that threatened to sideline the very essence of his engineering genius. And yet, Red Bull's ability to hold on to him speaks volumes about their understanding of what it takes to nurture a visionary. Christian Horner seemed to understand that Newey's full-time focus on F1 wouldn't last forever, anticipating a day when Newey might either retire his legendary drafting tools or seek a fresh challenge in the sport. Horner made a shrewd move. In 2018, Pierre Wache was promoted to technical director, allowing Newey to step back into a more flexible advisory role. This arrangement not only kept Newey's brilliance within reach, but also ensured the team was prepared for his eventual departure. Now, Newey contributes to the technical team on a part-time basis, working around 6 months a year, an enviable deal for someone of his stature. When the 2022 ground effect regulations were introduced, Newey's historical insight became invaluable. Having cut his teeth in F1 during the last era of ground effect cars, he brought a unique perspective to the table. His experience wasn't just an asset, it was a time machine offering Red Bull a head start. In a 2023 interview with Sky F1, Newey shed light on his specific contributions to Red Bull's 2022 Challenger, which focused on the suspension and front-end design. He keenly understood the intricate balance required for the new regulations, a stiff chassis paired with a car that could skim the track as low as possible. It's no wonder Red Bull's engineers treat his input like gold dust, because when it comes to solving engineering puzzles, Newey plays chess while others are still learning checkers. Adrian Newey's innovative anti-pitch and dive front-end design turned the RB18 into the most stable car on the grid in 2022, effectively sidestepping the porpoising issues that plagued rivals like Mercedes. Red Bull's car glided through races with minimal bouncing, cementing its dominance. However, even a masterpiece has its quirks. By 2023, the same stiff suspension system that had given Red Bull an edge became a headache on tracks like Monaco and Singapore. The unforgiving curbs left Max Verstappen wrestling with the car as he complained about being jolted off his racing line, a rare flaw in Newey's otherwise brilliant creation. As drama brewed within Red Bull, Adrian Newey made headlines by announcing his departure during a turbulent internal scandal that had the team on the brink of civil war. Yet even in the midst of chaos, Newey's exit was shrouded in ambiguity. He mused about taking a break from it all, hinting at the idea of driving off in a motorhome with his wife and dogs Forrest Gump style, claiming he was simply very tired. It was a rare moment of vulnerability from the maestro who had shaped so much of F1's modern era. In April 2024, Red Bull placed Newey on gardening leave, a typical move to prevent him from immediately jumping to a rival. However, rather than enforcing the full duration of his contractual obligation, the team offered a reduced 11-month leave, a gesture of goodwill after nearly 2 decades of extraordinary service. It was a quiet nod to the legacy he left behind, but Newey's sabbatical didn't last long. By August, Aston Martin's Lawrence Stroll had swooped in with an offer that was impossible to ignore. Stroll not only provided a lucrative signing bonus, but also dangled the carrot of an ownership stake in the team and the prestigious title of managing partner for all technical matters. It was a deal befitting a legend and a statement of intent from Aston Martin, a team determined to disrupt the F1 pecking order. For a man used to leading from the front, being 2 months behind isn't ideal, but if history has taught us anything, it's that Adrian Newey can turn even the smallest window of opportunity into a game-changing masterpiece. Come March, the entire paddock will no doubt be watching closely as Aston Martin's newest recruit sets his sights on rewriting F1's future. Is Red Bull's decision to block Adrian Newey's tools a smart move? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.